get vaccinated. And so we've offered several opportunities to our players to get it done here in the stadium. And we had a fair number of players yesterday who said that they were going to get it tomorrow. And so, I said, hey, we're well on our way to making life pretty easy for ourselves in training camp in terms of scheduling and all the protocols. And that combined with the work that we've gotten done so far, we decided to move on till training camp.
Zac, do you know around what percentage of the team right now you currently have vaccinated? I know they're looking at about 85% around where y'all are at.
Yeah, I won't get into the exact percentage we're at right now, but we're making really good progress, and we're putting ourselves in a good position to like I said, make life easier from a scheduling standpoint, protocol standpoint, and training camp.
Coach, is this another, positive sign about just how well this team is coming together? I mean, this may not be a football thing, but responding like this the way they're doing, even with the vaccination and all that, has to give you great optimism going forward.
There's a lot to be excited about with the group of 85 guys that we have in the locker room, and just your daily interactions with all these guys in the locker room and the meeting rooms on the practice field. You enjoy being around all of them. they all come with the right attitude and work ethic, and so just as we wrap it up here and head into the summer, I know our coaching staff is really happy with the things that we've gotten done and what our future holds for this season.
Thank you.
Was that one of the biggest things that, guys, not only the attendance, the number of guys that showed up, but as Paul Brown used to call it, being the spirit of it, the way that they worked. I mean, the guys just weren't out there like, show up today and go through not go through the motions, but just get through the OTA. It looked like everybody's really in the spirit of it.
That's exactly right. It wasn't just guys checking a box. It was guys here with a purpose, and they had intent in everything that they did, and really proud of them from that standpoint.
Zac, how impressed were you with what they've been able to do off the field? I mean, obviously part of your decision has to be not only what you saw on the field in the OTAs, but off the field in preparation.
I just think overall scheme-wise, it's year 3 for some guys, year 2 for others. Obviously, we had some rookies and vets, but we're really taking strides there. It makes sense to the guys. They're making it their own. They're not just out there trying to remember what to do. They know exactly what to do, and now they can take the next step there. So that's the part that I think is most exciting as you look at it from a head coach's seat, is just the ownership that the players have taken in the systems and the leadership that's really emerged to put us in a really good position.
Zac, we haven't seen Hakeem Adeniji out there last couple of practices. Do you have an update on him and kind of?
Yeah, Hakeem about a week and a half ago, he had to have surgery on his pec. That was actually last week. Just kind of an injury that he had, and so that's unfortunate because Hakeem is a guy who's obviously did well for us last year as a rookie and has a bright future and still has a bright future. But that's just a setback that we'll have to endure right now. It'll be a several month issue, and we'll see where it goes from there. But he had surgery last week, and he won't be around for a while.
With vacancies on the roster, will adding another tackle be something you guys look into this summer before camp starts?
Those are things that we'll look at, at a couple different positions to see what we need to add for training camp. And Duke and his staff are always on the lookout for that, trying out players and putting guys on our radar. But certainly something that we'll keep monitoring.
Coach, the NFL's Bill Walsh Minority Coaching Fellowship has been something the Bengals have really embraced, and you guys have done it again this year. From your perspective, what do you like about that program and the opportunities it provides?
Well, for me, selfishly, you get a chance to meet some new people, that you wouldn't otherwise get a chance to interact with. And I've ended up working with several guys who have been in that program before. Tim Lukabu was there in LA when I was there, and then ended up hiring here. And, Gerald Chapman was part of that program here before I even got here. And then he was on our staff last year. And so, and certainly have interviewed people for jobs that were part of that process before. So we've got several that I've got a chance to meet with. A lot of our coaches, a lot of our support staff members have gotten a chance to meet with, bright coaches that are doing a great job at the places that they're at. So more than happy to have them around the program. Unfortunately, it's not, in person right now, as we all know, but they're included in all the Zooms. They ask great questions. We've had great conversations, and, people that you get a chance to stay in touch with long-term. It's really good.
Thank you.
Coach, how much of the new additions, be it veteran players that are unlearning terminology and relearning new terminology, or rookie draft picks or college free agents, how much have they advanced and picked up the system? Everybody learns, at different rates. Some guys learn in the classroom well, others have to get on the field and all those kind of things. Now that you have a handle on how guys are learning, what's that process been like?
For some, it's easy on Zoom to know the answer when there's not pressure on you. And so what being on the field allows you to do is break the huddle, have to see the front, the coverage, vice versa, have to see the formation, make your calls right there in the heat of the moment. And just being the person, we're going to make errors. We made plenty of errors this offseason, but you get a chance to reload the play, get the correction done. So to see it live and in person is far better than having it on Zoom. And so just being able to get those guys out there for these 10 practices is a night and day difference than spending the whole offseason on Zoom. So again, selfishly as a head coach, really, really excited that we got these 10 days of work in.
Coach, how did you feel about Burrow going into this thing, and how do you feel about him now, and where do you think he fits in for training camp?
Well, really an unknown going into this process. As you guys heard me on the first day here, certainly very guarded in our approach there. I think that he's done a great job. He looks good, certainly not all the way there yet. So there's still a process that we got to follow here leading into training camp. And but you guys have been out there. I think everybody's optimistic. I know he really enjoyed getting out there. It's probably good for him to put the jersey back on, put the helmet back on, get in the huddle, call plays, get to throw the ball up, see coverages and 7-on-7. So, I would say probably I obviously didn't want to make any predictions before the offseason program, but he's in a really good spot right now.
Do you think he can start the opener?
I think that would be unwise for me to make any predictions on the injury front at this moment.
Coach, what was the reaction when you told these guys they don't have to be here the next 2 days?
Excited. They put in their work. But they would have been all about it had we not brought that up and kept going the next 2 days. I probably wouldn't have heard a word about it. Those guys were excited to work, but you throw them the ball in occasionally, and they've done a great job for us this spring, and so I was excited to give them that opportunity.
Like you touched on the vaccination stuff a little earlier, but how did you approach that conversation? It's obviously a touchy one. The league has kind of been very aggressive with it. How did you choose to approach it with the team?
Well, the last thing you want to do is tell somebody what to do with their body. So part of the process, just educating the guys. And first of all, just letting them know what the protocols are going to be. So the pros and cons of doing it or not doing it, just from an NFL protocol standpoint. And making sure that they had all that information. It's a very personal decision for a lot of guys. And so by no means, I just wanted to be a resource, the training room be a resource, Eric Ball be a resource. Just let them know where they can gather information. And, I think that we've had a lot of really productive conversations, and I'm certainly insensitive to a lot of the things the guys go through. And but ultimately, I think our team is in a pretty good place right now with where we're headed there.
Zac, there's so much focus on the players, but what about the coaching staff? How excited are you about the way you guys have grown as a unit and your ability to get your message across?
I've been excited about the staff from the jump, and I really think that we've got really quality coaches who believe in each other. They're not afraid of hard work. They have great communication with these players and are very honest with their communications there. And so, Mike, that's a really good question. It's a group that I feel very strongly about. I'm excited about the guys that we got in this building, and just ready to get back to work with these guys come training camp.
Thank you.
Going back to Joe Burrow, not really an injury timeline, more of a decision timeline. Can you rule in, or have you ruled in or out whether getting him reps in the preseason is something you would consider?
I think that's something we'll broach once training camp hits, and so that's 6 weeks from now, really, to make some of those decisions and see where we're at. And I could probably tell you what way I'm leaning in my head. I'm not going to tell you which way I'm leaning in my head, but certainly give ourselves some time there to really have the full scope. Guys like Trey Hopkins, there's a lot of guys coming off of injury that we'll get a chance to see where they're at, make some decisions on how we utilize them in practice and in the preseason games going forward.
Zac,
when you're putting together,
go ahead, Lap. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, when you're putting together a coaching staff, when you put together a roster, how much do you consider youth, experience, a factor, a combination of both? I mean, how much of that is intentional, or is it just best candidate no matter what?
It's I look for specifics at each position, really, and you need different personality types are good. They balance each other out. So age doesn't factor into it for me. It's quality of human being. Are they an expert at their position? Two guys that stand out for different reasons would be Mark Duffner and Al Golden. They're two former head coaches. And so just guys like that I can lean on their experience. Darren Simmons has been here for, 45 years now. So just guys who have that wealth of experience there. You lean on different guys in different situations. So it's good just to have a broad spectrum. We've got former players on staff, Troy Walters and Steve Jackson, and Marion Hobby, former players, and Frank Pollock. And so we just got just such a vast group of experience, and I've leaned on all of them at different times, and really thankful that we have all these guys in the building.
Zach, Joe said, Burrow said he was kind of working on his shot clock, so to speak. It's one of the things he's working on this offseason. How do you develop that in a young quarterback, and what are some things that you can do to kind of maybe mark that in camp when he's doing 7-on-7 or things?
Yeah, that's always been the challenge in 7-on-7. I've heard coaches before say it's useless because there is no clock and guys have all day. I don't agree with that. I think there's a great time to get your rhythm and timing versus different coverages and with the receivers and the DBs matching concepts and getting a lot of work at those coverage types. So, but it is best done in a real pocket, and with guys really bearing down on you. And, fortunately, sometimes we get that work in walkthrough with Trey Hendrickson and Sam Hubbard. They act like it's full game. So you get some of those reps during walkthroughs, whether you like it or not. But, that's just something we'll have to work through and as training camp gets going. And that's usually where you get the best sense of your timing is when the bullets are really flying at you.
Well, because we can't see walkthrough, and I figured we should probably ask this: has Burrow been able to go in half speed with the defenders coming at him? Because that's something we haven't seen in any of the practice.
We really haven't done that. We just haven't done it out of precaution for the same reasons I mentioned you guys early in training camp. You don't want a guy who trips and stumbles into them. And so there's been times he's been in the shotgun and made some protection calls, but you guys haven't missed anything in that way. And we've been protective of him during that period.
2 more minutes.
Coach, do you get a sense of your defense, what the differences are in your defense compared – well, I guess you didn't have last year at this time, but what is the sense that you get that maybe wasn't there, back in December?
You got a lot of new starters out there, with that first group. And obviously we got guys still competing, but there's a lot of new faces that are going to play a major role for us. And, I include DJ Reader in that mix as well. As we all know, he didn't play many games for us last year. So it's a group who's got really good experience. They really have meshed well together, just watching them play off of each other and communicate. I've been really pleased with the progress that's been made there. And so, but again, a lot of new faces, some old faces. It's a group that I'm excited about. We got depth there. I think that's something we've struggled with over the last 2 years, and part of that is just because of injuries. But feel good about the depth and the talent that we have on that side of the ball.
Three interior linemen, offensive and defensive. DJ Reader, you mentioned, Wren and Trey Hopkins have been rehabbing a little bit together. All of them, naked eye, seem to be progressing pretty well. Are they on schedule, ahead of schedule? Where might they be at this stage?
Yeah, hopeful to get those guys back, as training camp pops up on us. So, again, we got 5 more weeks to work through that. But all those guys have been making good progress as we would have hoped this offseason. And, we'll circle back at the start of training camp and see if they're ready to go.
Coach, minicamp can sometimes show you tweaks to your playbook that you weren't anticipating, before you get into actual training camp. Did you see things like that? And what will these next 5 or 6 weeks be for you and your staff?
Everything was pretty planned out for us in that way. Once training camp gets going and you really put the pads on, and sometimes maybe a strength you didn't see coming at you pops up at a position or a type of play concept, and conversely, a concept you're really excited about doesn't really pan out well. And sometimes you see that better in preseason games or in pads during practice. Not as much for me in minicamp, to be quite honest with you. So we'll see early on those first 3 or 4 weeks in training camp. We'll have a better sense of that. But
one last question.
Team-wise, when it's planned, we had a lot of things planned out over these 10 days, and we got a lot accomplished. Everything we wanted to get accomplished, we got done.
Sorry about that, Coach. One last question.
No problem.
Coach, did you know going into today that you were going to let them go, or was that something you kind of just made on the field?
I knew yesterday that we were there, so let them know today, though.
All right, Coach, we appreciate your time. I'll let you go.
Thanks, Zach.
Thanks, Coach.